I want to know how you channeled Whitney.
You know what it was? It wasn't really so much a channeling. It wasn't about channeling her, because it was more of a caricature and a character of Whitney. And it's what most people socially were thinking about Whitney, but didn't want to say because it was a little too taboo to say in social circles. But given that I was on a stage, that kind of gave me a platform. And I wanted to make sure that it was not specifically Whitney. That's the thing. I was channeling the social concept of what most people believed Whitney was, what they read in the tabloids, what they saw in newspapers, what their opinions were as they sat in the coffee shop.
But how did you feel? How did you feel about Whitney? What inspired you to do it other than being assigned a role?
Believe it or not, in the early days of MadTV, it was a sketch that was already written. Whitney was in the primordial stages of creation to turn into something else, and it wasn't until socially she hit the spotlight in so many ways that were harsh against herself that really kind of took off. But initially it was MadTV writers who said, okay, we have this sketch with Whitney Houston, and it wasn't about her behavior at the time. It was more like her voice, because she was still at the pinnacle of who she was and continuing to grow. And so all of the sketches back then were about her music and about her singing and about making fun of that and doing light. But when socially things began to change out in the media, we began to take a different slant and put a spin on it that most people were thinking socially. And after that, it was just a matter of taking her and making her more of a caricature so that we were not slapping her. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to disrespect a diva. This wasn't any ordinary woman. This was an extraordinary gift from God, and you don't want to slap a diva, but you do want to show light for your audience and say, look, we can play with you still. And that's what we did.
Yeah, because I remember you saying, oh, baby Jesus, I hope I don't run into...
And I did. I ran into Bobby Brown. Yes, I did. And he happened to like the parodies, and what I heard from people, from other people, and you know, there's always a degree of separation. So I guess it was a sixth degree or seventh degree of separation that I did hear that Whitney liked it. That Whitney liked it. She made light of it enough because I wanted to make sure that it was not offensive. You know, my responsibility is to make it funny, but I'm not here to offend anybody. So as long as it's funny, that's great. But if you take it too seriously, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew my intent was not to be offensive, so I played that role very, very clearly. And if someone else found it offensive, I can still stand up and say, that's on you. That's how you perceive it. That's how you took it. You don't know my intent in what I did. If you are a Whitney Houston fan and were offended, then don't watch MadTV. Where, you know, the two tenants rub up against each other. Hey everybody, my name is Debra Wilson, and you're watching Studio Q.